You're, you're
All
muted.
right, there we are, 191.
Yes, ma'am.
We have already in the foregoing pages assigned two stations unto.
Two stations unto each of the luminaries. And remember, when I repeat something, we highlight or underline those things so we can discuss them. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. I will go back. We have already in the foregoing pages assigned two stations unto each of the luminaries arising from the dayspring of eternal holiness. One of these stations, the station of essential
unity, essential unity.
We have already explained. No distinction do we make between any of them. The other is the station of distinction.
The other is the station of distinction and pertaineth. Here's the answer why. Highlight that, please. And pertaineth to the world of creation and to the limitations thereof.
In this respect, each manifestation of God
hath a distinct individuality.
Wow.
A definitely prescribed mission.
A predestined revelation and specially designated limitations. Each one of them is known by a different name.
Is characterized by a special attribute.
Fulfills a definite mission and is entrusted with a particular revelation. Even as he saith,
some of the apostles we have caused to excel the others.
To some God hath spoken, some he hath raised and exalted, and to Jesus, Son of Mary, we gave manifest signs, and we strengthened him with the Holy Spirit. It is because of this difference in their station.
So let's talk about that paragraph.
Thank you.
So Baha'u'llah has already, we have done pages of essential unity, right? Essential means it's an essential part. You cannot take it out of a thing. Like essential infallibility is for the manifestation. It is a part of him. It cannot be divorced from his station. So essential unity then cannot be divorced from them. They essentially are that. That's as when we say essentially we are human, we are kneaded of clay. I'm made of certain things, and that making is my essential part. So the manifestation of God have two stations, essential unity. We have already spoken about that in previous pages, that at their level, at their highest level, at their basic and highest level, they're one and the same spirit, one and the same mind, one of the same heart, one and the same knowledge, right? Baha'u'llah is very clear about that. It's not that one knows less and one knows more. At that level, they're all one and the same. The place of distinction happens in this world, the world of creation. That is because of our limitations. Because if you're a 2-year-old, a PhD cannot teach you PhD subjects, right? If you're a 5-year-old, a PhD cannot teach you PhD subjects. A PhD can only teach you PhD subjects by the time you reach the age of PhD and you have the mind developed to get to that. So all of them are PhD teachers, but they choose which grade they have taught. And if you were 2 years old, he could not deliver everything he knew. So, but Adam knew what Christ could teach. And Adam is thousands of years before Christ, right? But we weren't ready. We weren't ready. So now that we know how the universe scientifically works itself, for example, right? The sun is always shining and the sun is one and the sun is always out there. But the limitation of this earth creates the atmosphere of day and night. And because it creates day and night, we have works to do. We have to go out and work for our living and for our food. We assign different works on different days. And therefore, it was necessary that we name them. Imagine if you had no names of days, you would not know which day you are doing what task. It would have been very difficult for us. So that organization was necessary for my level of creation, to my limitations on this globe, to how I live, right? So we already know that you go to space, there is no day and night. The light is always there, right? so forth and so on. So the manifestation of God is one and the same. God is one, therefore his manifestation means the emanation of his light. It's one light, right? It's one light. But we say, oh, it was Monday's light or Tuesday's light or Wednesday's light. And if we liked the things we did on Monday, we kind of end up liking Mondays. If the Wednesday's work was kind of cumbersome, we don't really like Wednesdays. But it doesn't matter to the sun and the days. It only matters to myself. And unfortunately, that's how we have started looking at the religions of God as well. These are chapters of God's faith from his mother book. They're all necessary because I was 2 years old. I'm 3 years old. I'm 4 years old. Because it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He had given me a chapter to read each day so I could deal with it. But I decided I like the Monday one better, and therefore, which is fine. Liking was fine if you didn't start cursing the one that was on Tuesday or Wednesday. That's how lame it is, right? When you actually get to know the truth, that's how terribly lame it is for what we have done to ourselves. Right? We want to believe in God, but we curse him at the same time. Because I believe in Jesus and I curse Moses, I'm cursing God. I believe in Moses, I curse some other previous prophet, I am cursing God. So forth and so on, right? So the difference is because of the limitations of creation. That's where the distinction is. So at certain point within even our school system, you jump. 5th grade is very important to you because now you're starting a different school, right? 8th grade is very important to you. Now you're starting a different school. So those lessons and those exams even are a bit more lofty than what you dealt with previously. But your teachers were all educated at the same level. It was not their problem that you had to do less or more. I had to do less or more because of my own limitations require that. And it is love and mercy of God that he's allowed that, right? Can you imagine if he asked me to learn all the things he knew at age 2? I would die. Baha'u'llah speaks about that the glory of God is so infinite that if it was just, I'm paraphrasing, but if it was just dumped on you without preparation, nothing will live. And we see that he uses the example again of the sun. You know, in the morning it rises, it slowly heats up. The sun is hot out there, the same heat of the sun as it is. But my earthly requirements are such that if the day happened and it was at 12 o'clock heat, all vegetation will die, right? It slowly raises it up and then you get acquainted with it and you grow with it and it becomes life-giving rather than death-giving. And he says the message of God is the same way. It is slowly rising you up so you can live with it rather than die under it. Its burden, right? And that is true within the same revelation too, by the way. That's why when you read what Christ was speaking or talking the first few months would have been so much more simpler than what he started edging up towards, right? With every manifestation, with every book, it's the same. You see that progressiveness, not through the chapter to chapter, but within the same chapter, there is a progressiveness to it too, right? It's quite interesting. So that's where this was very confusing thing to me because the Quran is the one who talks about this very openly like this. We'd make no distinction about them. And then there is a sin to it that if you make a distinction, you're actually committing a sin. But at the same time, then there was this word, some apostle, we have a cause to excel the others. And you go like, what does that mean then, right? So thanks to Baha'u'llah, that's what it means. All right, same that other phrase, the beginning that had no beginning or the end that had no end. It used to just baffle my mind. I was like, what does that mean, right? So each chapter ends, but God's creation doesn't end. Each chapter and his peoples and his time ends, but humanity wouldn't end. There was always manifestations. There always will be manifestations. So yes, everything begins and ends, but yet to the whole, there is no beginning or no end. The system has always worked and always will work.